Good morning, everyone. We're going to talk about choices in childbirth today because choice is a really important topic. I've chosen to talk about it off the back of a discussion yesterday, which was basically about paying for classes and courses and independent midwifery support, and paying for a doula. And it's really hard to sort of answer these questions in a short manner, so I thought I'd do a little Facebook Live on it. Basically, you don't need everything that's offered to you in pregnancy or in labour, and you don't need to buy all the services available to have a good birth. But sometimes investing time and energy in doing your research and perhaps doing a course or two, perhaps hiring a doula, can pay dividends. And I want you to know how to make those choices. You know, how do you know if a doula's going to make all the difference to your birth? How do you know if you ought to take a childbirth class, or if you ought to have all the tests available in pregnancy or none of the tests available in pregnancy? So hopefully at the end of this you'll have a bit more of an idea about how to make truly empowered, informed choices. So I've written a couple of notes so that I don't just ramble on all morning, because you know that I can. But I've done it in my usual fashion of a quick brainstorm. So little shopping list so I don't forget anything. But as usual, do chime in if you've got any questions, need anything answering. That's what I'm here for. So why it's important to make informed choices. Basically, if you don't know what choices there are, you don't have a choice. And the hospitals and midwives and the NHS are really, really good at providing a level of standardised care. And standardised care means one size fits all. So you go into your shop to buy your dress and there's only a size 12 and you're a size 16. So you either try and squeeze into that dress or you go without. You know, that is childbirth choices in a nutshell. That is standardised care. So you routinely get offered things at various points in pregnancy and in labour and during birth, and they will suit most people. So that's the first thing to say, that you don't have to decline anything or be radical or go against the system unless it's right for you. But you need to know what choices are available, and then you can decline them if you want. Which brings me on to my first point about human rights. One of my famous sayings is, your human rights do not stop just because you're pregnant or just because you're in labour. They don't stop, they're the same. So no one can touch you without your consent. Nothing can be done to you without your consent. You have to give consent for anything to happen. So if you go into hospital knowing all your rights and all your choices, and you may or may not want to accept standardised care, but you know your rights and your choices, you can make empowered decisions and you're less likely to come out the other end with birth trauma. And a large proportion of women and people that give birth now come out the other end with birth trauma. It's an alarming amount. I can't remember if it's 20 or 30% of women and people that give birth, but it's too high. You know, we shouldn't have that much birth trauma. And what causes birth trauma isn't the type of birth that people have. It's whether they understood what was happening to them and were part of the decision-making process. So if you don't know your choices, if you go in and say, I'll have whatever you offer, and then you don't understand why things are being done to you, you can end up being very traumatised by that. So this is why choice is so important. Right, that was the first, knowing your rights. So you have the right to accept or decline anything or everything, even if it would affect the life of you or your baby. So let's say you're a Jehovah's Witness, you won't accept blood transfusions, you start to bleed at any point in your birth, and you have expressly said, and it has been documented, that you will not accept any blood products. We can't give them to you, even to save your life. We can do all the other measures, but we can't give you blood if you've said we can't give you blood to save your life. That's how strong this is. So you have the rights, you have the power. I want you to know that. The second bit in making informed choices is to get the information, to get the knowledge. How are you going to make informed choices if you don't know what the health professionals are talking about? So if you're offered a sweep at 39 weeks or 40 weeks, as is routine in the UK, and you say, what's that for? And your midwife says, oh, well, we just offer it to all women. And you think, oh, that's okay. They offer it to all women, so I'll go along and have my sweep. And they haven't told you that it's an internal and that it can be really uncomfortable. And there's a possibility that they can introduce infection, they could rupture your membranes by mistake. The most common thing is causing cramping and a bit of bleeding, which doesn't lead to getting you into labour. The whole point is they try and get you into labour and don't always tell you the whole picture. Oh, it's, hopefully we'll get you into labour doing it. Well, it's not a magic wand. It's just not. And if your body's not ready and if the baby's not ready, it won't work. And if your body's ready and the baby's ready, you don't need a sweep because it will just happen. But yeah, so do your research, ask questions, and the best questions to ask are the BRAIN acronym, which hopefully you all know by now because I bang on about it most weeks that I'm here. So, okay, so let's take the sweeps again. So you say to your midwife, what's the benefit of having a sweep? Oh, well, it might shorten the time that you're pregnant, mean that you're less overdue, might get you into labour. Okay, what are the alternatives? The A. The alternatives are that you don't have the sweep and you wait for labour to start, or you can try some other natural methods if you like. Okay, BR. Sorry, I missed the R out, didn't I? It's because I'm doing it in my head. I think I've got dyslexia. So the R, you ask your midwife, what are the risks of doing it? And as I've said, the risks are we can introduce infection, we can accidentally rupture your membranes, it can be uncomfortable, we can cause like a pre-labour, really uncomfortable cramping, a bit of bleeding that might keep you up all night and you get no sleep and then you don't go into labour and then you go into labour the next night. So you've not had sleep for 2 nights. Anyway, so that's potential risks. Alternatives we've looked at. I is the instinct or intuition. What's your gut telling you? Should I have a sweep? What's the first thing that pops into your head? If it's a no, perhaps you shouldn't. If it's a yes, I'm desperate to have a sweep, go for it. Benefits, risks, alternatives, and the most important one, what if we do nothing? So you ask your midwife or doctor, what if we do nothing? What if we don't have it? Well, then your labour will just happen when it's meant to happen, naturally. So, BRAIN acronym, do not forget. I'll post something underneath so everyone remembers the BRAIN acronym. So doing your research, and you've got to look at where your research comes from, because if you go on Google, you can come across all sorts of horrible things that you don't need to know about in pregnancy. People's bad experiences, doctors' opinions, which may just be opinions rather than based on any sort of evidence. And even things like the Green Top guidelines that doctors base their care on, only 10 to 20% of them are based on really good evidence. So how about that? Bit more about information gathering. Yeah, just look at your sources. Everyone's going to listen to their friends and their family, and take into account what they've got to say. And it's important, if you've got friends that have birthed at the same hospital, their experiences are important, but their experience isn't your experience. So you've got to do your own homework and figure out what's right for you. So how do you go about that? A really good idea is to write a list. So whether it be for equipment you need for the baby, or what care you'd like during the birth, you write a list. And on one side you write what you need, and the other side you write what you want, 2 columns. So what I want is, I don't know, a fully decked out nursery for my baby with everything I could possibly buy in it, everything the baby could possibly need. What I actually need is a few baby grows, a few blankets, not even a nursery, an alongside cot if I can afford one. So whittle it down to actual needs, and then look at your budget and see what you can afford. And then perhaps you can afford some of the little luxuries, mobiles and stickers for the walls, I don't know, whatever. So that's your needs versus wants list. And the really important thing that occurred to me yesterday, when people were talking about, do I need a doula? Can I afford a doula? Oh, I can't afford an independent midwife. I can't afford a doula. Only rich people can afford that. Only middle class people can afford that. Absolute rubbish, I say. Absolute rubbish. And I'm not rubbishing people's experience, because if you don't think you've got much money, it may be that you actually don't have much money, and that you think that you can't afford these things. Now, some people save up and can afford these things. Some people ask for donations from friends and family and can get the things that they need. Some people barter. Some people can exchange services. I've been paid in firewood. I've been paid in soup. I've been paid in building experience. Someone's partner was a builder, helped me with some building work that I needed doing. I've been paid in lots of ways. Birth workers are in this because they care. They're not in this because they want to make lots of money. If they wanted to make lots of money, they'd be in a different profession. So speak to your birth worker. If you want a doula, if you need, not just want, if you need a doula or need an independent midwife rather than just wanting one, you will find a way to finance that. You will find a way to make it work. And I wonder if some of this, I can't afford it, I can't afford to do all these things for myself, is all about self-worth. Do you think you're worth it? And I'm not trying to sell my courses here or anything. This is a genuine question, because I've met so many women over the years who've said, in a variety of ways, not normally straight out to me, I'm not worth it. I'm not worth people's care and consideration. I'm not worth investing in myself. I'm not worth treating myself. And I think that's what a lot of it comes down to. So if you accept that you are worthy and you deserve good care and you deserve good support, you will find a way to make that work. And I'll let you in with a little secret here, which is going to blow your mind, because you can get whatever you want in life. You just have to ask for it. And how good are we at asking for things? Absolutely bloody hopeless. Ask for what you need and you'll be surprised how much you get. And I've only learnt this quite late in life. But if you were to come to me or many other birth workers and say, Joy, I have no income, or we're on one wage and we can barely manage the rental payments and to feed our kids, and I really need to do one of your courses, or I really need an hour of your time because I've got such a problem in pregnancy that I'm wrestling with, and you know, I have never ever turned anyone away on inability to pay. As I said, it's good if you can do a bit of an exchange because, you know, I need to eat too and I need things done around my house too. I need gardeners and all sorts of things. But yeah, if you ask for it, it's amazing what you get. So not all my clients have paid in money. Some have done long-term payments because they actually value the cost of my services and they want to pay, but they'll pay, I don't know, a tenner a month for years or a fiver a month if that's all they've got. You know, they'll find a way to do it. So do ask. So if you see any of my courses that you think would benefit you and you really have no money, contact me. Phone me up, send me a message and just tell me what's going on for you, you know, and we'll work something out. And that's not just me. That is many, many other independent midwives I know, many, many other doulas that I know. You can probably get hypnobirthing courses this way too. Just contact the person, contact the organiser, explain your circumstances, and it's a real hard thing to do if you've got no money, to go cap in hand and say, I really need help and I really have no money. And I've been in that situation. And I wouldn't be telling you this if I hadn't been in that situation. When I was expecting my first child, my husband had become very ill and couldn't work and wasn't entitled to benefits. Now this is 26 years ago, the rules have changed, although they've tightened again. I'd got pregnant whilst working as an agency nurse and therefore wasn't entitled to any benefits, so I had no money coming in. And my husband and I relied on the donations of friends and family to give us all the things that we actually needed. Not all the things we wanted, but all the things we actually needed to prepare for a new baby. So, you know, my friends and family scoured car boot sales and, you know, checked out their lofts for stuff that they had. We were given baby baths and clothes and blankets, a cot, you know, the bare essentials that you need for a baby. And we were so grateful. And for years we shopped in charity shops. We really had no money. But I didn't know how to ask for help back then. And having my first birth actually did teach me a lot about asking for help. Because I was very ill and had a cesarean, and yeah, really should have asked for a lot more help. Ask for help. People like to help. Ask and you shall receive. So, I am rambling. I always do that. Have I missed anything? I don't think I have really. Yeah, doulas are fantastic. If there's any way that you can fund one or that your family can fund one, do it. It takes the pressure off your birth partner. I know it's hard in these circumstances at the moment. Sometimes a doula's better than your birth partner. So yeah, have those discussions. And if you're at home, have a doula and your birth partner. You know, you can have as many people as you like at home. I don't care what rules and regulations health professionals have. Yes, you want to keep them safe. Yes, if anyone in the family is unwell, you would not want them near you or a health professional during the birth. But if you use common sense, everyone washes their hands, people keep a social distance. Yeah, have who you blooming well want at your birth. It's your birth. It's not going to happen again. It's your choice. That's what this is about. So yeah, little bit about my courses. I've written loads and loads. So yeah, and they are affordable. And I'm writing new ones all the time. So they range from about £5 up to 50 quid. But if you can't afford them, let me know. Let me know the reason. Talk to me and we'll work something out. You might be able to give me a lovely exchange. Okay, that's it for this morning. Choice is important. Empower yourself. See you next week. Bye.